Mr. Bush, when are you going to apologize for the million Iraqis that are dead because you lied?
Iraq War veteran and filmmaker Mike Prysner disrupted a live George Bush speaking event, and it was amazing. So I'm going to play this clip. This was on September 19th in Beverly Hills. Check this out.
Mr. Bush, when are you going to apologize for the million Iraqis that are dead because you lied? You lied about weapons of mass destruction. You lied about connections to 9/11. You lied about Iraq being a threat. You sent me to Iraq. You sent me to Iraq in 2003. My friends are dead. Joshua Castile. You killed people. You lied. You lied about WMD. A million Iraqis are dead because you lied. My friends are dead because you lied. You need to apologize. Apologize. You need to apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
Are you with this gentleman? No.
Absolutely incredible. Now, I'm going to have a second clip in a minute here showing you Mike Prysner discussing his experience doing that afterward. But first, I want to send you actually to their Empire Files page. So he does this with Abby Martin, his wife. They shoot films. They've done incredible work here. So make sure you subscribe. I'm sure you already are subscribed, but if you aren't, make sure you go and subscribe to them. But first of all, the bravery it takes to do this. Standing up in front of a massive crowd of people that, all love George Bush, that paid to see George Bush. Can you imagine? Can you imagine paying to see George Bush? But they did. They're there in that crowd, and it sounds like something that might be fun to do, yell at George Bush. But I think in the moment, I'm sure, it's a high pressure situation, a lot of anxiety. You don't know if you're going to be arrested, what's going to happen to you. So just an amazing job there by Mike to call out George Bush and confront him over the Iraq War. It is crazy that George Bush is still accepted into polite society, that people pay to see him, and that this crowd booed Mike Prysner, an Iraq War veteran that was the victim of George Bush, his administration's policies. Yet here they are paying to see George Bush. Just absolutely ridiculous. Now, let me play for you the second half of this video where Mike discusses his experience in doing this.
What just happened?
I'm wondering if they're going to arrest me, but
What just happened?
I just disrupted George Bush speaking. They dragged me out. I guess the cops are not after me, so I guess they're not arresting
running,
me.
but yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I did was I tried to read the names of friends of mine who died after going to Iraq and then died of injuries they came home with. The names of Iraqis who were killed by the U.S. occupation in the Nisour Square massacre, Haditha, those you saw in the collateral murder video. I tried to read the names, but the event runners immediately grabbed the list and tore it up. But I was able to shut it down for a little while, right when Bush was getting into his first little cheesy story about his life and all that, trying to be funny. But so hopefully I shook him and set a tone for the event. The crowd was very mad. Typical crowd you would expect for George W. Bush, but they seem to not be expecting it at all. And here we are. So tried not to give them a little moment of peace because no one else gets it who is touched by the war.
Great point there at the end. Make George Bush feel uncomfortable for just a moment. Here's a guy who's, as I said, accepted into polite society, hangs around with people like Ellen DeGeneres. There's fluff pieces in pop culture about him, about George Bush's artwork. So how about for a minute, remind this guy about what he actually did, what he is responsible for. And I think Mike Prysner in that moment did exactly that and did a fantastic job doing it. One last thing here. Mike Figueredo of the Humanist Report, shout out to him. I noticed before I shot my video on this that he'd covered it, and he referenced this clip here that I will link to below. This is a 10-minute video of Mike Prysner discussing his experience in Iraq, and it's horrifying, it's disturbing, but it gives you the real story in terms of what these veterans had to do when they were there. And I think it, for many people, may potentially allow you to think about this war and this issue just overall a little differently than maybe you did before. And, one last thing, since it's coming to me now, just thinking about, what he did in this event. This is the kind of thing that I think even a lot of Democratic voters would feel squeamish about, because again of the way that George Bush has been accepted. And you have here somebody disrupting, a live speech like this. Oh, you shouldn't do that. That's, you're being disruptive. You're bothering people who are just there to watch a speech. Why are you interrupting this speech? Without realizing here that this is George Bush, and not really coming to terms with the damage that he had done as president, and what kind of standard that set for U.S. imperialism going forward. So just, it's, I don't know. It's the kind of thing where there has still not been an apology. There hasn't been an acceptance from the U.S. about what they did in Iraq, and the lies that were told to send people into war, to murder the amount of civilians that they murdered. There still has not been a real, for lack of a better term here, post-mortem done on all of this. But it's good to see Mike Prysner reminding people, especially in this crowd, about who George Bush really is.